And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I'm so excited to welcome to the show for the very first time debut adult thriller author transitioning over from the world of YA, Ren DeStefano, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new red hot book, Hal, I'll Kill You. Ren, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that amazing intro. I love the red hot. So How I'll Kill You is my debut coming over from children's publishing. So quite a departure from everything I'm used to and a little bit different. But it is about identical triplets who have a pact to kill all of their boyfriends. And the youngest, well, self-appointed youngest of the three triplets, has done the cleanup for a span of about 6 years. And now it is her turn to pick a man to fall in love with her, charm the pants off of him, and then kill him and move on.
Kill him and move on. Woo! Ren, we've got a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to get into every tasty detail of it. But first, I just want to welcome everyone who's watching. So we are live going to 7 different destinations simultaneously right now. So no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. It is the right time. It is Mystery Monday, and because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make them a little less painful for you. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome, mystery and thriller loving fans. We're so happy to have you. You're one of us, so come on in. This is how it works. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Ren, children's books to serial killers. Dang, that is quite the departure, LOL. And we need to get the scoop on that, as well as triplets who are serial killers. I mean, I know I always wished I was a twin. We need to talk about that. And this book is racking up all the praise. We are going to talk about that. Starred reviews from Booklist, Library Journal, and Publishers Weekly. Oh my gosh, we got a lot to talk about. So first of all, Ren, let's dive right in. Where did you get the idea for this crazy book?
So the reception has been very surprising. In an early draft, I thought maybe this idea is a little bit too out there, a little too wild. Not sure if anybody's going to respond to it. But the idea came about when I was, and don't mind the kitty in the background. Also, he's here to help us. I was engaging in one of my favorite hobbies, which is to watch a little bit of true crime, and I saw a video entitled Serial Killer Siblings, I believe, or Siblings Who Kill. It might have been Siblings Who Kill. And I thought, ooh, so my brain is thinking siblings who've teamed up and they're just creating a path of carnage. That's the only logical explanation. But it ended up being, I think, 2 siblings that were in a battle for an inheritance. And I think one ended up plotting to kill the other. And it got me thinking that so many killers, whether they're serial killers or maybe they just do it one time and then get caught for their own personal gain, they tend to fly solo, right? They don't want others to know what they're up to, and they maybe want to manipulate others. So I thought, what if we had siblings that loved each other unconditionally, were very loyal to each other, and they engage in this really treacherous behavior? And then I thought, well, 2 might keep the pact, but 3 is always a crowd. Even if you have 3 very close siblings or friends, there's always, even with the best of intentions, 2 that are closer than the other. And that might shift. And when you're carrying such a lethal secret that can put you all in jail, one goes down if the other does. It really raises the stakes and makes you side-eye everybody in your vicinity.
Are you by chance one of 3 siblings, Ren?
I am an only child, and okay. I think you mentioned that you often wanted to be a twin growing up. I did too. I thought it'd be so much fun having somebody that shared my identity, my face, so that we can just do the swap. I grew up watching The Parent Trap, both iterations, the original and then the Lindsay Lohan. Yeah. And I thought it'd be so fun. And, not having any siblings, I would go to friends' houses and they would say, well, you can have my brother, you can have my sister, and always being so interested in, are you best friends forever? Do you just kind of separate? I wanted to know. And so I think that's where my interest in writing siblings came from.
Yes, yes, and I'm so as one of four,
Four.
three sisters and a baby boy, I can attest that three is a crowd. Like, so you do split off into pairs. Two is a couple and your best friends, and three is a crowd, and it's hard to navigate that.
For sure.
I can share from personal experience. So I think I'm so intrigued that you, especially as an only child, were able to hone in on the fact that serial killer triplets would be messier and harder than serial killer twins, especially as someone who dreamed of being a twin but not a triplet, but you knew to make your characters as triplets.
Mhm.
Well, Ren, your book is racking up all of the praise. Let's take a peek at some of this. I'm going to pop it up so we can all read it together. So, first of all, Booklist is one of the places that has awarded you a starred review, and they rave this deceptive thriller opens as a chilling, dispassionate chronicle of murderous triplets devoted to their chosen craft and each other, but evolves into a twisted love story as layers of loneliness, self-sacrifice, and competing loyalties surface. Readers will find that this sneakily heart-wrenching story lingers with them after Sissy's final word. So first of all, congratulations. Starred review from all of these places on your first adult book. Hashtag goals. Amazing. Now let's talk about this. So chilling and dispassionate to a twisted love story. Did you sit down and think I shall write a twisted love story and also a murderous thriller? Did you plot it out? Did it evolve? Give us a peek into Ren DeStefano's writing process.
So this was, I think it's a case of you try really hard for a long time to find your story. You try to find the one. And I'm writing so many things, and then I'm looking at all these amazing bestsellers, and I'm thinking, what do I have to offer this really wonderful community of these books, and largely about women who are doing some very unsavory things that I just find especially entertaining. And I think I was trying too hard to emulate a lot of what I was reading, and then it was falling flat on me. And so the day that I turned my brain off and I stopped thinking about it is the day that this idea just sort of floated in on me, unexpected. And I did not know, after having so many ideas that really were kind of a hard no, or that went nowhere after a page or two, I didn't necessarily know what this would be. And I think on paper, if I had just reached out to my agent and said, "What do you think about serial killer triplets?" she probably would have said, "All right, go get some sleep. You sound a little bit out of it." So I started writing, and after a chapter or two, I showed it to a friend. And the friend, this is somebody, and I think everybody needs this person in their life, somebody to say, "This is gold," or "This is not it. You're wasting your time." And her advice to me was, "Do not screw this up. This is good. Go with this." And even then, I did my writing just not knowing if it was actually any good. I was having a lot of fun. I didn't know if anybody else had my weird little taste for something like this. And when my agent sent it out, I was just sick to my stomach the whole time, waiting to hear back.
Well, I can certainly relate to that sick to your stomach feeling. And thank you for sharing this process with us. I think it's important to talk about, that this is the process, and it doesn't always just come so easily, and that's so true and so relatable.
Mm.
Carrie White, welcome to the conversation. She says, "This is one of the most original books I have read in a long time. My review will be up on Instagram tomorrow." So Carrie is, of course, the incredible bookstagrammer. Carrie reads them all.
Yeah.
Carrie has really great reviews. So I'm going to pop her handle up here. So everybody go follow her right now and check out her fabulous review tomorrow. Carrie, I will be waiting for it. Tag me and tag Ren, and we will be reposting it. So here she is. Carrie reads them _all. So everybody follow her. Let's see what Carrie has to say about this one. I love that she's honing in on the originality of this.
That's like the the nicest thing you could ever hear, especially if you write thriller. That's just so special to hear.
Yay. Yay. Let's and yeah, Carrie, thank you for honing in on that, Ren. Thank you for receiving that with such grace.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, readers gotta read. I think your comment got cut off. Would you mind reposting your comment just so I can pop it up there for us? And always good to see your name pop up. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. While I'm waiting for you to retype that, I want to just look at some more of this amazing praise. So Library Journal also awarding Ren a starred review. Let's take a peek at that. They rave, quote, when it comes to carefully concealed sociopathy, the fascinating protagonist in DeStefano's adult debut gives Gone Girl's Amy Elliott a run for her money. Combine this with a cleverly crafted plot that delivers ingenious twists, and you have a novel that will stun readers. So first of all, congratulations on that starred review. Second of all, let's talk about the twists, Ren, because so much of the twist is about that's what we love as mystery and thriller fans. So do you put it all out there and then you say, oh, I need another twist in chapter 3. What about chapter 20? Or do they just sort of organically come to you? How do you do that starred review for twisting?
So I think it's good as a writer, and if you're just starting out as writing, or you're writing your 10th book after a string of bestsellers, some advice I would give you is you have to know and be aware of your strengths and weaknesses. And one of my great weaknesses is that, aside from having a lot of cats, is that my great weakness is that I really try so hard to give a happy ending. And when you have a protagonist who's a serial killer and her loyalties are to her 2 sisters who are keeping her in this life, and she falls in love with the person she's supposed to kill, there's no way for it to end happily at all. And I still tried. I tried to write an ending that would be happy. And I think I sacrificed a lot of twists in that first draft. And when I finally sat down to edit and revise, that's when I really tore things up and realized, okay, if I want this book to actually be satisfying, and if I really want it to be unexpected, nobody's going to get a happy ending. And I mean, nobody.
Well, that's terrifying. It was the way that you said it, the quote, the special way. I like also that you said that you need to know, writers need to know their strengths and weaknesses, and that yours, is this compulsive need to have a happy ending. I have that too. They always say, kill your darlings. I'm like, but no, they have suffered enough. They must, let's get them to the spa where they can get massages.
I have a soft heart. I really do. You might not believe me reading my work, but I do.
You show your other weakness is too many cats. How many cats do you have?
I have 3.
Oh, I thought
They're all here.
I thought I was prepared for like 30. 3 is totally manageable. That is not that many. Annalie, welcome to the conversation. Oh, look, she has a little kitty profile picture. She says,
I have a black kitty too. Yeah.
Oh, what's your black kitty's name?
Momo.
Momo?
Yes, and she's about to turn 17.
Oh, Momo.
So she's been here the whole time.
Annalie is saying she's so glad for glimpses of feline or canine muses. Annalie, right? Me too. And that's one I think the beautiful things about virtual events is A, they're accessible to everyone. B, people can watch them at their own time. You don't have to watch them live. And C, we get to see people's furry friends, which is my favorite part. And we get to see your furry friends with your profile pictures. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for that lovely comment and sharing your little black kitty. So Ren, do the cats support you in your writing? Are they curled up, like purring appreciatively, or are they like distracting you and it's hard, it's an obstacle to your writing?
They are aggressive lap cats. So they don't care what I'm doing as long as they can sit in my lap. And this is my lap, the lap of anybody who visits. You're not safe from a cat in your lap. So they are very just lap potatoes, I would say.
Lap potatoes. I love it. I love it. Hashtag lap potato Ren. That's your new nickname, Ren. Okay. You guys, the review, I want to get to also this, the third of the starred reviews, because my goodness, woman, like you have hit it out of the park with all of this, with all of these starred reviews. And I am freaking here for it. So let's take a peek at this third one from Publishers Weekly, who raves this devilishly clever Textbook of Malicious Mayhem is a must for Dexter fans. First of all, I love alliteration, so this is working well for me.
Just like
Do
the
you
Dexter titles too, Darkly
oh,
Dreaming Dexter, and I think there's a few there. All the titles are alliterated.
does that resonate? Were you like, yes, that is a comp title for me, or were you like, didn't see that coming?
So I never learned how to take a compliment, and I'm just still, all these years in publishing, just still really startled when people respond so kindly to my work. So it's just really humbling and really amazing to see. So I mean, I don't know if you can get a better comparison than Dexter. That's just, I think everybody loves Dexter, right?
Yes. And you know what's interesting, Ren, that what you just said about that you quote never learned to take a compliment. So as a writer, it's so true, right? Like someone could be like, we can look at these 3-starred reviews, we can analyze. I mean, you have earned 3 freaking starred reviews, what an accomplishment! And yet we will remember what user 5579285, which is like sucked, didn't finish, right? And it's like, why do you think that writers and probably all creatives remember the bad stuff and aren't able to soak in the good? What do you think the deal is?
So I would, it's been a really long time since I've checked, but I know when my debut came out in about 2011, I was very fortunate to receive about 100,000 maybe or more reviews on Goodreads. And,
Wow.
maybe 10,000 of those, 20,000 of those are 1 star or 2, right? And when I first debuted, would read everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I've yet to, out of, tens of thousands of negative reviews amid the positive, I've yet to find one that's ever touched upon something I haven't myself thought in some capacity. And so, like, you could try to say something I haven't thought, but I think most writers would agree that we're so in tune to what we think will be the worst reaction. And what a lot of people don't see behind every writer is there's a lot of rejection, and there's a lot of, no, this story is not any good, or we just flat out don't get responses. So that might have something to do with it, where it almost feels like that's inevitable, and any positive and any good is just sort of an icing on the cake.
Yes, it's so true. I think I find myself doing that as well, where it's like, and then, what's the meanest thing someone could think of, that I could possibly think that someone could possibly say about my work. And then I worry that someone says it. And then when they do, if they ever do, I'm like, I knew it.
Well, and it's not invalid. I would say if you read a book and you hate it, it's not necessarily personal, and it's not invalid. I know that no writer is for everybody, right?
Exactly. Just like no food is for everybody, no partner is for everybody, no animal is for anybody. Like we're all different and that's okay. But somehow the
I do
reviews.
love books, though. It's really hard to find a book that I can't find something I love about.
Yeah.
They're not all 5 stars in my head, but I would still say it. Almost none of them are 1 star. There's still something really entertaining, and maybe that does come from understanding the writing process and
Yes.
knowing how much passion it does take.
And how much time and work and how
Mhm.
hard it is.
Yeah.
Y'all, the book is out tomorrow. Ren is stopping by tonight for this very special pre-launch Q&A to tell us about her process, tell us about the book, talk about the reviews, talk about her craft, her process, all these good things. The book is out tomorrow, and you can order it now from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book, and they do have signed copies, which is absolutely incredible. So again, the perfect gift for yourself or for others. Mother's Day is coming up. Your birthday, your mother-in-law's birthday, your sister's birthday. Hey, if you have sisters, this would literally be the perfect gift for them. So here is that link. Pre-order it tonight, and the good folks at Murder by the Book will send it out to you tomorrow when the book drops. Ren, how are you feeling the night before the pub of your first adult book?
I'm mostly curious. I think 13 years ago when I was debuting in YA, I would say nervous, terrified, out of my skin. But now I think I don't know. Let's see what happens. It's all been really unexpected so far.
Yay. Well, I think everyone is really excited about it. Samantha Downing, who was on the show for her last book, is coming on again in July. Raves. This chilling book is both twisted and tense. The writing is lean, the plotting is tight, and the story is whip smart. We'll have you glued to the page. That is high praise from Queen Downing there. And she is not the only one. Darby Kane, who was on in December for her new book, Raving Wren, DeStefano delivers on this compelling tale about lethal sister triplets, an emotionally sharp, tension-filled thriller with an unexpected touch of romance and a clever premise that will have you racing to the end. Congratulations on that amazing praise. And it's interesting because she did talk about the unexpected touch of romance. We don't see too much of that in thrillers. Why do you think that is, Ren?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think a lot of the time, if there is romance, it's maybe more of an act of manipulation.
Ooh, true.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily somebody who's wrestling with their feelings, but more something they've already decided to do, or maybe somebody they're conning in some way. So there are a lot of different types of romance too, I've noticed. So maybe somebody falls in love with person B, and person B has a skeleton in the closet that we find out about, or you fall in love with just a lifestyle, or I just finished reading Good Rich People.
Oh, by Eliza Jane
Just
Fraser.
finished it. And I felt like that was falling in love with the idea of having this sort of fairy tale wealthy, how do these people live? Can I be among this class sort of lifestyle?
Yes. Yes. And Eliza Jane Fraser came on to give us the inside scoop on that book, which was such a fascinating and unique book. So it's so good. And she has another one coming out, Girls and Their Horses. It's going to be really exciting. Meanwhile, Jessie Sutanto, who was on last Monday, giving us the inside scoop on Mrs. Vera Wong's unsolicited advice for murder, has a lot of great things to say about your book, Ren. She says, a smart, sharp thriller that is both suspenseful and also surprisingly heartbreaking. The relationship between the three sisters is riveting. Once you're done, you'll be begging for more. Jessie also writes YA and adult, so cool to be both thriving in those worlds. And Alicia let me get that whole thing up. Alicia Thompson raving Ren DeStefano put me through the emotional ringer. I love that. She's bringing us out good. So May Cobb, who was on the show last year for my summer this summer, raving that your book is insanely addictive, wickedly funny, and deliciously devious with razor sharp prose. So she says she inhaled this twisty suspense, which is equal parts propulsive thriller and steamy romance, over a weekend, and it left her gasping. Okay, so let's talk about what it takes to make May Cobb gasp. So first of all, it's really hard to be funny on the page. What do you think the secret is to being funny on the page, Ren?
I think just maybe having a bit of a cynical outlook on life. I've been told a lot that I tend to be kind of a comedic person, and I think joking is just how I get through situations. And so the scarier and more preposterous or nerve-wracking a situation is, the more likely I am to crack a very inappropriate for the situation joke. And I think a lot of that comes out here. So I can think of a line, I don't think it's spoilery, where, these three sisters are serial killers, and obviously they're super loyal to each other and they love each other, but they have this kind of murderous mindset. And so one sister is very angry at the other, and she's thinking, about 12 people a year are killed by a carnival ride. If I just shove her over there, maybe somebody's foot will knock her head off, just not serious, just very tongue in cheek type of comedy, but about horrible things.
Ooh, interesting. So it's about, so you think the secret is about being irreverent in a tough moment. That's what comes across. That's one of your secrets to being funny on the page, to humor on the page.
Being unexpected and also very specific. So
not
just, oh, I'm so mad I want to kill her, but like I want to have a stray foot from a tilt-a-whirl, kick her head off, like just an odd, a preposterous situation that kind of adds that layer.
Ooh, okay. So being unexpected and extremely specific.
Yeah.
I like the specificity of that answer. Now let's talk about the second part of May's quote, where she was talking about the razor sharp prose. So not your first rodeo.
No.
the secret to writing razor sharp prose?
I don't know. I don't know. I think if a writer were to ask for that advice, and I do a little bit of coaching too, I like to help writers, find themselves. I think it's, don't be afraid to get weird with it, right? Because
Ooh.
if you're trying to write formally, you're not going to go give a speech at Harvard University, right? So you don't need to be super formal. It's about being, the weird thoughts you have in your head, or the kind of creative ideas, the things that you think people might judge you for, are probably going to be the most compelling things to get on the page.
Ooh, interesting. I went to a book festival where Dani Shapiro, who's a memoirist and novelist,
Mm.
spoke, and she said one of her secrets is that when you speak the thing that is most shameful to you, the
Mm.
deepest, darkest, most painful, shameful thing that you think you would die if anyone ever found out, you would just you start sweating even thinking about it. But
Yeah.
when you speak that unspeakable thing and people say, "Oh my God, me too," it's
Mhm.
actually really freeing. And I'm
Yeah.
hearing you say some of those same things. And I like how you distilled it down to don't be afraid to get weird with it. I will be
Mm.
embracing my weird, and I invite everyone who's watching tonight to do that too. Reader's Got to Read is back with a different question. She says, I've read several books with two sisters. Why did you decide to have three? And what is one thing that makes each one stand out if it's not a spoiler? Great question.
Yeah, I love that question. So it's really, I think it comes down to a bit of what I touched on earlier, which is that three's a crowd. And it's you, I think that I thought about, if I had two identical sisters and one is committing a crime and the other is being the alibi in a town where nobody knows there's twins, right? Um, but I thought I could see them kind of going on forever, like Thelma and Louise, where they just loyal to the end. They don't, they'll die together, ride or die. And I thought, no, I think we need to twist this up a little bit and complicate it by having another, because we've all been through this situation where you have a friend you're really close to, and when another friend shows up, you're both kind of a different person, right? The
Yes.
relationship changes, and it's not
Yes.
necessarily a bad thing. But I was thinking a lot about, in my childhood, how I had, so like a lot of people, I grew up in a church community, and then I had school community, and I had church friends and I had school friends, and they were never crossed paths. And I had one close friend in each environment, and then they met each other and they became like besties and kind of left me in the dust, right? But the dynamic would always change. It's like, when I'm alone with one of them, we have a really good strong relationship. When it's the three of us, they're kind of over there and I'm over here. And so I think in siblings that's the case too, but it's a little bit more twisty, because you know everything about each other. You know all the things that they don't want anybody else to know. So you're still kind of bound together, whether you want to be or not.
Ooh, great question there. Reader's Got to Read, a really great answer, Ren. What about the second part of her question? What about when you were crafting these three
Mhm.
identically physically looking people, but you want to differentiate their personalities? What
Yeah.
were you thinking? How did you create what were you thinking to yourself? How'd you do that?
So I knew that they couldn't come from an environment that maybe fostered closeness. And so they were foster children. And our protagonist, Sissy, that's not her real name, but you might as well call her that, because she's not going to tell you her real name for a while. But she ended up in a foster home that was somewhat nuclear and supportive, and tried to give her basically everything a child at that age wants: stability and comfort and kind of community. And then the two other sisters, one ended up in a lot of group homes, one ended up in a lot of very dodgy homes that were not conducive to good mental health. And so the sister who had all these kind of great privileges, she would look over at what her sisters were going through, and she would think, well, I can't have this if they don't have this. And she fell into a pattern of sabotaging any good thing that happened to her, and feeling indebted to them in some way, like, I've gotten more than you, so I owe you these things. And another sister, who goes by Moody, also not her real name, she ended up just incredibly angry by her circumstances, not having any control, not having anybody to love her or believe in her, and taking her away from the only people she cares about. And she became just very loud and impulsive and incredibly manipulative. And the third sister, who goes by Iris, she became very contemplative and quiet and reserved and thoughtful. And she's the one that you just never see coming. So it's all different survival mechanisms that have kind of shaped who they are now as adults.
Readers got to read. Thank you so much for the wonderful question, Ren. Thank you
Great
for the
question.
wonderfully enriching answer. So uh, very cool to know that you really stepped back as the creator of these triplets and gave such deep thought to what would shape such very different people, and then incorporated that on the page. I love knowing the backstory to that. You guys, the book is out tomorrow. So here once again is your link to pre-order tonight so that the good folks at Murder by the Book I'm going to pop this up so you can see it no matter where you're watching from. Pre-order tonight. The good folks at Murder by the Book, our friends in store, will send you. And again, we do have signed copies. Perfect gift for self or others, the mystery and thriller lover in your life. Ren DeStefano, thank you so much for coming on for this very special pre-launch Q&A, taking all our most pressing questions for How I'll Kill You. Y'all, thank you for spending your Mystery Monday with us. And I will be back next Monday. So I hope you have a killer week until then.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Ren. Okay, good night, everybody.